On this Fifth Sunday of Lent, we begin to think particularly about the Passion of Jesus and what that means for us. Our first reading, Jeremiah, talks about the new covenant that God will make with his people. His people had rejected the one he'd made with them in the desert and gone after other gods, and that had led them into exile. But now God is going to restore them, and restore them with a covenant that will be written in their hearts. And then our second reading from the letter to the Hebrews reminds us of Gethsemane. It talks about Jesus praying aloud and in silent tears to be spared the fate that awaits him, and yet obeying the Father. And through that obedience becoming the source of eternal life. That obedience of Christ, the passion of Christ which he accepts from the Father, is the source of our life. And that's the theme of the Gospel. The Gospel starts by a group of Greeks wanted to come and speak to Jesus, and they go and tell the apostles that they want to speak to Jesus, and they go and tell Jesus. Why is that significant? Well, it's significant because Jesus has been struggling with the rejection by his own people, the people who might be expected to listen to his message, to understand that message that he tells them has come from Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Moses. They're the ones who are fighting against him. But here are these foreigners who come. It's a sign that this message of Jesus, this salvation of Jesus, is for all. Is, as we heard yesterday, last week in the story of Nicodemus, is for the world. And it leads Jesus to talk about what his passion is going to mean. He talks about the way in which a grain of wheat has to fall into the ground and die in order for it to bring new life, in order for it to be fruitful. And he uses that as an image of himself and an image of us. Because he says that his followers are going to have to follow in his way. And his way is this way of the Passion, the way that leads to the cross. And again, we see Jesus questioning whether he should ask to be freed from that burden. And yet he says, no, this is the way in which God is glorified. It is through the cross. There is the voice of God confirming that. And then, again, we're taken back to a reminder of that encounter with Nicodemus last week, because Jesus says that when he is lifted up on the cross, he will draw all men to himself. That's what we're preparing to remember. Jesus being lifted up, Jesus' passion which he accepts in obedience to the Father, that is the source of salvation for us, and in which, as followers of his, we are called to participate by being ready to hand ourselves over in obedience to the Father, to accept whatever that cross might be in our own lives.